For the longest time, the portable audio market has been trapped in a numbers game. Every single month, a new dongle deck drops, promising lower distortion, a higher signal-to-noise ratio, and a perfect mathematical neutrality. And while that clinical perfection is incredible for measurement charts, it can honestly get a little bit boring to listen to. Now, sometimes your ears don't want a scalpel, and they want a warm blanket to comfort them, and this is where the Muse HiFi M3 Ultra comes in. This tiny little piece of aluminum isn't just another solid-state dongle. Inside this incredibly small 55-gram chassis, Muse HiFi has managed to cram two actual real-deal military-grade vacuum tubes. Now, for $110, it promises to bring true analog warmth, rich harmonics, and massive output power directly to your smartphone. But portable tubes usually mean terrible battery drain, awful ringing noises when you tap them, and a massive footprint. Well, has Muse HiFi actually solved the portable tube paradox? So let's find out. First, let's start with the physical design, because honestly, this thing is a miniature work of industrial art. Muse HiFi calls this their world gate design. What you immediately notice is that true hollow structure, and this isn't just a glass window glued onto a metal box. You can actually look straight through the device, seeing the vacuum tubes suspended inside. This looks incredibly futuristic, but this hollow cage serves a vital acoustic and thermal purpose. Vacuum tubes, as you guys know, generate heat, and that's just the physics of thermoic emission. Now, if they are sealed inside a tiny little metal box, it will cook in your pockets immediately. Now, the hollow cage here acts as a passive cooling tunnel, allowing air to pass through and dissipate the heat, while the rigid aluminum protects that fragile glass from impacts. Now, despite the metal cage and the tubes, the M3 Ultra weighs exactly 55 grams. It disappears into my pocket, and furthermore, I absolutely love their screenless approach. There's no tiny OLED display to fiddle with, no complicated menus, just pure plug-and-play simplicity. You do, however, get independent hardware volume control with power of memory, which is a lifesaver when switching between hard-to-drive headphones and super sensitive IEMs. You also get two headphone jacks. One is a 3.5 and one is a 4.4. The 4.4 is a balanced output. So how did they pull all this off? Now, the digital heart of the M3 Ultra is the ESS Sabre ES928Q2M DAC chip, and I'll paired this with a fully balanced circuitry architecture. But the real stars of the show are the dual Raytheon Jan 6048 tubes. Jan stands for Joint Army Navy. These are genuine military specification sub-miniature Panto tubes, originally built for battlefield communication gears. Because they are directly heated tubes, they draw significantly less power than desktop tubes, which means they can run off your phone's USB port without instantly draining your phone. In fact, running this with a standard 5000 milliamp battery phone in my testing, it can go over 12 hours, no problem. But the biggest problem with portable tubes is the microphonics. Now, the internal grid of a tube is incredibly sensitive. If you tap the glass or even bump the deck on the desk, it causes the grid to vibrate, causing a horrible high-pitched ringing noise in your music. Now, Muse HiFi engineered a triple anti-vibration system to kill this. First, they encase the tubes in a physical shock-absorbing silicone matrix, as you can see. Second, they use complex analog filtering. And third, they built in an adaptive noise reduction algorithm that actively detects microphonic ringings and instantly cancels it out, almost like active noise cancellation for the internal circuitry. You can literally flick this dongle with your finger and you can hear absolutely absolutely nothing in your earphones. It is flawlessly implemented. But none of this matters if it doesn't sound good. And spoiler alert, it sounds phenomenal, as long as you know what you're looking for, of course. The M3 Ultra completely rejects the hyper-analytical, razor-sharp sound signature of modern solid-state dongles. Instead, it leans heavily into even order harmonic distortion to create a thick, organic, and incredibly musical presentation. The bass response here is authoritative. It adds a massive visceral weight to the sub-bass and mid-bass regions that makes electronic music and rock music feel incredibly energetic. Now, for the mid-range, vocals are thick, natural, and dense, and it sounds distinctly analog. As for the treble, it is noticeably smoothed over. Now, the ESS DAC chip, it still retains all that details, but the tube stage instantly take out all that sharpness and fatiguing spikes. Because of this tuning, the M3 Ultra is the ultimate cure for bright, shrill IEMs. I tested this with the Lecture S12, a planar IEM that is famous for having lean lower mids and a spicy treble. The M3 Ultra completely transformed it. It injected massive density into the S12, smoothing out the abrasive highs and made it an absolute joy to listen to. And despite being a tube amp, it is dead silent, with a total harmonic distortion of 0.0003%. The background is pitch black, with zero audible hiss, even on highly sensitive earphones. When I compared this M3 Ultra to some of my other DACs, for example the FIO BTR17, the FIO is significantly cleaner, brighter, and leaner. It's highly technical, but next to the M3 Ultra, it sounds a little bit too sterile. The Muse HiFi gives me that undeniable analog punch. And what about the Shanling UA7? Well, the Shanling is a detailed monster, especially for vocals. The M3 Ultra only sacrifices a little microscopic amount of that clinical clarity, but in return, it gives you a fatigue-free warmth that the UA7 lacks. And then there is the Onyx Beta, another dongle aiming for that warm, thick sound. The problem with the Onyx Beta is that it can occasionally cross the line into sounding too muddy or losing bass control. The M3 Ultra finds that perfect middle ground, and you get the tube warmth, but the bass remains tight and controlled. And in terms of power, this thing pushes 480 milliwatts at 32 ohms out of the balance output. It drives planar magnetic headphones and high impedance dynamic drivers without breaking a sweat. Now, at the end of the day, the Muse HiFi M3 Ultra to me is a triumph of highly targeted engineering. It doesn't try to be a perfectly flat reference grade studio tool. Instead, it is a distinctly colored, unapologetically musical instrument that makes your audio gear sound incredibly fun and engaging. At a retail price of $110 US, it absolutely destroys the pricing barrier for high quality portable tube technology. If you have a collection of bright IEMs that needs taming, or if you simply want to experience the magic of vintage military tubes without sacrificing the portability of a dongle, the M3 Ultra is an absolute must-buy. It breathes analog life into the digital world, and it does it brilliantly. Alright, so that's my overall thoughts and opinions about the Muse HiFi M3 Ultra. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and also please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. My name's Ian, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again in my next video. Cheers.